About a lot of political things, but underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be here at U.S. Central Command. Admiral Cooper, the commander of CENTCOM, was going to be here with me. We just got done with detailed briefings, but of course he is busy because CENTCOM, Central Command, will be busy tonight because President Trump said we will be hitting Iran hard, and we will be because Iran has a chance to make a good deal, a great deal, to codify what they said they've been willing to do, and they haven't been willing to do it. So, as President Trump said, they've been tapping. You can see when someone's trying to tap on a deal. Instead, they're going to have tap bombs dropping on key facilities in Iran from the United States of America. And that's not because we want to restart anything we don't have to restart. It's because the War Department is prepared to set the terms to ensure that we get the kind of deal President Trump expects. And Admiral Cooper and the team here at CENTCOM has done a phenomenal job from the beginning on Epic Fury and through this blockade, ensuring that we have a chance to reach that end state, which is Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which they say they don't want. And so since we're so close to that negotiated deal, if that's the case, they should step up and do it. There's another thing that was revealed today by the president that the press has not been aware of, but certainly this bill.
JD, go tell Thune, hey, look, we need you to go on one day, just one day of official recess. We don't want to send Hawley or any of these senators in there to hit the gavel and do pretend.
You know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers.
Reports we've just confirmed with U.S. officials that airstrikes have begun against Iranian targets. Iranian state media is reporting that those strikes are being carried out on Keshem Island. We heard those strikes yesterday at about this time. The same sort of airstrikes began. Keshem Island, Manab, Sirik. These are all port and coastal areas where the U.S. it was taking out air defenses and radar systems just yesterday. Right now, we can say that Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, was down at CENTCOM headquarters where he was being briefed by Admiral Brad Cooper this afternoon about potential targets. Earlier in the day, the president indicated and telegraphed that the airstrikes were likely to begin again tonight. Secretary Hegseth told reporters who were traveling with him that, in fact, the U.S. is willing to negotiate with bombs if need be. And shortly thereafter, the airstrikes began. We can expect to see, I think, over the next few hours, a number of new targets hit inside Iran. Earlier today, Qatari negotiators were sent to Tehran to try and convince Iran's leaders to get back to the talks, to agree to the terms that the U.S. had been discussing. Those negotiations have been stalled. Now, I think the feeling is that another night of airstrikes may bring the Iranians back to the table. But the last few weeks and since the ceasefire have proven to be very frustrating, and there has been, as officials have described to me, less a ceasefire and more of a less fire.
So we'll see what happens. But we hit them hard yesterday, and we're going to hit them again hard today, in case you miss it, in case you don't turn on your television set. And we'll see what happens with the deal. We were.
Wednesday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. And away we go. We're going to be going to Iran, of course, first. Well, not first, but almost first. Basically going to Iran because we'll talk about Lindsey Graham first, which who wants us in Iran? But anyway, all right, let me say hey to everybody in the chat. Let's see. Guitar Glenn is on. Peg McGroin is on. Sunwoo 45 is on. Big Scott 1 is on. General Plowman is on. Aggravain is on. Skunk 71 is on. Mr. Cool Dude is on. Let me see. Robin Aroni is on. King Slutsy McGroin is on. Andy Mama is on. Douglas Tina is on. Big Jim Go Blue is on. JGCK is on. Jules 21 Hours is on. Depp Pal 50 is on. Jim Brody is on. Let me see here. Captain Cliff is on. Scrolling down. Bud 64 is on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Uncle Wally is on. Scrolling down. Let me see here. Snod Dot 311 is on. Scrolling down. Let me see. Big Scott 1 is on. Granite 2468 is on. Keeper 1376 is on. Release the Hog is on. Let me see. Aphrodite's is on. Scrolling down. Lisa Kinzer is on. Mud Tire is on. K4. VMS is on. Keeper 1376 is on. Milwaukee James is on. Conservative Warrior is on. PD Frank is on. Let me see. David Graves is on. Let's keep going here grab a couple more. Let me see here. Mojave Jeep is on. Let me grab a couple more I haven't seen yet. Let me see. Getting down. Maybe I'm getting close to the bottom. Let me see here. Scrolling down. Luann 5 is on. Sexy Pony is on. All right, let me get one more I haven't seen yet. There's one. Snag Dog is on. Charlie 340 is on. Gloyd Shaw is on. Cut you guys down there at the bottom. All right, love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. All right, let's hop to this first. I want to just get out. Here's the public. This is what was all put out yesterday at night, basically after the podcast started. So just wanted to, this is MAGA. As I've been saying, what I've been calling the party, Graham Levin MAGA, Graham Levin MAGA, or Levin Graham MAGA, whatever it may be. Do you need any more proof? This is what was put out. I'm doing a little Trump Truth Social expose here to start off the show. So this is what was put out. How many of you voted for that? A guy who votes with Trump 30-40% of the time. Is that what you voted for? I didn't vote for that. Wouldn't it be great though, before I even get to Iran tonight, wouldn't it be great? I was actually fantasizing about this today. What would it be like? I'm just curious if we were actually talking about, wow, look at the border wall going up.
Yeah.
Trump has reached 3 million deportations, which he easily could have done by this time. Look at the interest rates, how low they are. Look how low inflation is. Look at our booming economy. Wouldn't it be great to be talking about that right now? Wouldn't it be great if we were on a year and a half worth of Doge and we were actually lowering the national debt instead of Trump adding $3 trillion worth to it already? Can you imagine what that would be like? Wouldn't that be great? I mean, at mass deportations every day, we're sitting there going, wow, Trump mass deportations, he's reached 3 million. Wow, he's put this big dent into what Biden did. Wouldn't that be great? What are we getting? We're getting FISA renewals and new wars. Isn't that great? And no wall, no mass deportations, high interest rates, high inflation, especially in comparison to wages. Again, not good. All right, go to the next one for me. Donald Trump Truth Social. Congratulations. That wasn't enough. That post wasn't enough that you just saw. Also had to put out this one. Congratulations to Senator Lindsey Graham of the great state of South Carolina. It's a big win tonight with almost 60% of the vote against a large field of very capable candidates. Oh, now the people who were these absolutely psychopathic weirdos and whatever he called them, now they're very capable candidates. Mm-hmm. Tell you what, maybe, I don't know. There will be no runoff. Lindsey Graham will be able to devote his time to passing the desperately needed and long overdue Save America Act. I guess that's going to follow along with the peace treaty. I guess we're going to get the Save America Act right about the same time as we get the peace agreement with Iran. The peace agreement that we wouldn't need. Imagine not having to ever talk about it. Imagine if you and I never had to say the word Strait of Hormuz, which, by the way, Iran closed completely and totally again today. All right, go to the next one for me. All right, sorry, my bad. Shadow of Ezra video. Here's Lindsey Graham in his victory speech. Play it for me.
Thank y'all. We won. So I want to start with a bunch of thank yous. I want to thank the big guy, God. Trump comes later. Mr. President, you're not far behind God, but we're going to start with him.
Dude.
I'm looking at Aaron. Trump's not far behind God. Okay. Well, that sounds like how Guthrie acts like. That's how Sean Ferris acts like. That's how all these MAGA pundits and these MAGA streamers, they all sound like that. Cat Turd, Gunther Eagleman, Sean Farish, Benny Johnson, all of them. Laura Loomer. Trump is God to these people because as soon as he says good, they say it's good. As soon as they say bad, they say it's bad. They're all fervently, no new wars, no new wars, no new wars, right? And then as soon as Trump says we're starting a new war, they go, oh, we want war, we want war. Imagine being somebody who lacks that much integrity, actually has no integrity whatsoever. Imagine that. Is this ready or is this my next one?
Yeah, that's ready. If you
okay,
want.
yeah, I don't want it yet. I got to get through Grant first. All right, go to the next one. Now we're getting it right after this. All right, Donald J. Trump. Last month, I directed our great U.S. military, again with the propaganda. Dude, I mean, can we all just say you are U.S. military? All you need to say is I directed our military. We really don't have to put great in front of it. We all know it's great. It's just like at Trump's cabinet meeting. Mr. President, because of your fabulous and unbelievably intelligent leadership, we have done the following. I mean, puke fest, folks. If you're like that towards anybody, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're just a wrong human being. You're just off track mentally. You just are. You're a sycophant. It's disgusting. I directed our great U.S. military to execute a secret mission to support oil tankers and other commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Today, I am pleased to announce that this effort has resulted in more than 100 billion barrels of oil making it through the strait. Now, let's break this down for just a moment. Those 100 billion barrels of oil, what country did they come from? They either came from Iran or nobody else, really. So really what Trump is doing is facilitating Iranian oil tankers out of the Strait of Hormuz. Remember we heard the rumor that 7 ships had breached the U.S. blockade and went straight to China? So what's actually happening, my lone opinion here, is that Trump is allowing those ships to go through so that people like China don't get pissed and other countries don't get pissed. And while you're doing that, Iran's getting paid.
Yep.
While we facilitate them through the strait. So you're paying for the continuation of the war. Isn't that great? That's my opinion. 100 million barrels of oil make it through the strait and into the open market. More than 200 commercial ships have safely traveled through the strait. This widely successful effort is because the United States of America controls the Strait of Hormuz. So he just changes it. So now, yesterday, Benny Johnson would say, Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. Now we need to bomb the living crap out of them. So I guess when Trump says today that we control the Strait of Hormuz, Benny Johnson, Gunther Eagleman, Sean Farish, all of them are going to say, oh, wait, we control the strait. And then tomorrow when Trump says Iran controls the strait, then those idiots, those puppets will go back and say, oh, wait, they control the strait. That's who these people are. I mean, I'm telling you right now, reprobate, mind-controlled, Papa Trump, MAGA morons are the most irritating people on the planet.
Yeah.
They really are. They're repulsive. They really are repulsive human beings. Because you know what? They're people who are completely and totally devoid of integrity. As soon as Papa Trump says to them, it's right, they will call it right, no matter whether they believe it's right or not. I went back and forth actually with Sean Farish a little bit today on Twitter because I congratulated him on Lindsey Graham's win. And he's like, when did I ever support Lindsey Graham? And then he showed me that he, on March, I believe it was March 24th, or it was over 2 months ago. So whatever it was, 2.5 months ago. The day that Trump put out, that he endorsed Lindsey Graham, Sean Farish put out, I'm against this, all right? And firmly against it. Now, he never said another word until Lindsey Graham was elected last night, right? This is Sean Farish, the guy who does Trump invitations, got 100,000 followers on Twitter. So he comes out and says he's against it. Well, they all did that. Everyone, Laura Loomer, they all come out and say they're against it, right? So that they're on the record against it. But then never says another freaking word, Sean Farish, for 2.5 months. 2.5 months, never says a word, never says I'm against Lindsey Graham, never campaigns against Lindsey Graham, never brings up Lindsey Graham's record, never bashes him, never says one thing about him, while the entire time bashing Thomas Massie. So how it works is this. Even though Sean Farish knows that Lindsey Graham is crap, he knows that he is. He keeps his mouth shut because Trump wants him to keep his mouth shut. That's a person without a spine. You're a weak, non-principled human being. You are a puppet with Trump's hand up your anal puppet chute, Sean. You're worse than the worst because you know that it's wrong and you do it anyway. You dutifully keep your mouth shut. If we were going through COVID again, what would Cat Turd be like now? If Trump was in favor of COVID, which, by the way, he was for all intents and purposes. Everyone forgets that.
Yeah.
The author of 15 Days to Flatten the Curve, Donald J. Trump. Masking, Donald J. Trump. 60 Days to Flatten the Curve, Donald J. Trump. Operation Warp Speed, Donald J. Trump. Let's not forget that, okay? Now, so I guess like all these people like Ferris, like Gunther Eagleman, if it came out today and Trump says, we got a new Operation Warp Speed for the hantavirus, they'd all jump on board, right? They couldn't. Or maybe they put out their obligatory, this is what I responded back to Sean Ferris. Oh, you put out your one obligatory tweet so that you can go back and say, I was against it. And then 2.5 months, you don't say a word about Lindsey Graham and you bash Thomas Massie, who has a 98% Liberty score. And Lindsey Graham is 40%. So you know that it's wrong and you do it anyway so that maybe you get another invite to the Oval and you can go there and do your imitations in front of Trump like the whore that you are. Just disgusting. You're a disgusting human being. You are. You only went against Massie because Trump wanted to go against Massie. Did you ever say anything about Massie before, Sean? Did you ever, please forward this to Sean Ferris. Did you ever say one word about Massie until Trumpy boy told you to do it? Whore. Absolute whore. And then you know that you don't want Lindsey Graham and you don't say a frickin' word for 2.5 months. You even put out a video, you do a little dance after you got rid of Massie, who votes with Trump 90-something% of the time, and Lindsey Graham 40% of the time. I mean, do you realize how the level of the lack of integrity that you have to be you? Yeah. To be somebody absolutely devoid of all human dignity and integrity? Unreal. So anyway, today I am pleased to announce that the effort has resulted in more than 100 million barrels of oil, making its way through the Strait and into the open market. More than 200 commercial ships have safely traveled through the Strait. This widely successful effort is because the United States of America controls the Strait of Hormuz, not Iran. Their military is defeated and their economy is lost. Then why didn't they sign your peace deal 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, yesterday, today? When? Why? Their military is defeated and their economy is lost. It's over for Iran. Why are they still there then? Because you can't beat them. That's why. Unless you go absolutely, by the way, we actually can't beat them unless we launch nukes, and then China launches nukes, Pakistan launches nukes, and they can reach the United States. India launches nukes, Russia launches nukes, everybody launches nukes. Okay, that's the only way that you quote unquote would defeat Iran, even though they'd never be defeated. We can't go and invade. You hear all these idiots like Sean Ferris. He's one of them. Use force. This is their famous 3 words. Finish the job. Finish the job, and what does that mean? Define finish the job. You're going to go in and do a military occupation to grab their enriched uranium. Is that what you're going to do? Okay, we have 1 million soldiers total. 1.2 million total. Total. That's not 1 million Marines. That's 1 million members of the military. Fighting men in the military. That's it. How are you going to do it? How are you going to do that exactly? I would love to see it. So let's just break down some of these stats right. I got to show you this. So leave this up for me. So Trump says, I am pleased to announce that this effort has resulted in more than 100 million barrels of oil making it through the Strait. Okay, 100 million barrels. All right, so let's look at the stats. This whole idea came from Will, by the way. Before the 2026 Iran war, this is from Grok, approximately 20 to 21 million barrels of oil pass through the Strait per day. Per day. So Trump has managed 100 million barrels of oil for the last 109 days. This was per day. So just do 100 times 200 million do 100 times 21 million per day. That's what's actually been missed. And he claims this is this giant success. And Aaron said this before the show. The only people that would believe it's a giant success is Sean Ferris, Gunther Eagleman, and Cat Turd. Is that if Trump tells them, even if they knew it wasn't a success, they would claim it's a success because Trump wants them to say it.
Yep.
And they won't have an account anymore if they don't. So they choose an account over their own personal integrity. Disgusting. The daily average, 20 million barrels per day. Per week, 147 million barrels per week. And now Trump's claiming victory because he's gotten 100 million barrels total through the Strait. Which, by the way, where did all that oil go? That's Iranian oil paid for by other people. Because the other people ain't paying for oil they aren't getting. So now Trump's actually facilitating, in my opinion, Iran getting paid. Those 7 ships that strangely made it through the blockade. Now we know what that was really all about. They didn't strangely make it through the blockade. They were escorted through the blockade, so China got their oil and Iran got paid. That's what happened. All right, where the heck am I? Where am I at, Will?
Want that map?
Yeah, do the map. So so now we have now we're back on our self-defense strikes. It's like again, Gunther Riegelman, Cat Turd, Sean Ferris, all these people, Eric Doherty, Laura Loomer, Mark Levin. These are all self-defense airstrikes. I'd love everyone to explain that one to me. Oh, you're just going to call them self-defense because Papa Trump tells you to say it, right? Is that what you're going to do? You're just going to because you know they're not self-defense, but you're going to call them self-defense. I guess that the Metcalf case was self-defense. What if Trump came out and said that? Would you say it then? Would you say it? Carmelo Anthony? Would you, if Trump came out and said it's self-defense, would you have said it's self-defense? That you would. If you were Sean Ferris, you would. If you were Gunther Eagleman, you would. If you were Cat Turd, you would. If Trump suddenly came out in favor of a George Floyd memorial in Washington, D.C., a gold statue, you'd all be in favor of it. You're disgusting. I mean, you're repulsive human beings. Self-defense strikes. Here we are again. What day are we on here? Let me make sure I got it right. Are we on day 100 and something? I know that. I think we were 108 yesterday, right? Or was it 103 yesterday? Can't remember. But anyway. Yeah, I'll find it. All right, let's go to the next one, whatever it is, Will. All right, here we are. Iran's military is a complete and total mess. Much of it, like the Navy and Air Force, doesn't even exist anymore. They have been completely defeated. Iran is all talk, no action. The bully of the Middle East is dead, but yet they just launched 11 missiles into Israel. And they purposely made sure they missed. So they didn't tick off the United States, but somehow on day 104. So we're on day 104 of the war. Yeah, it was 103 yesterday. So day 104. So if they're so defeated, how in the world are they launching these missiles? 11 of them in one sortie on Israel. How does that happen? Iran is all talk and no action. The bully of the Middle East is dead. They're dead, huh? Amazing. They still have 95 million people live there. They've taken too long to negotiate a deal. What happened was that Trump basically had a deal 2 weeks ago. Allegedly, it's all probably crap. But anyway, they sent it back and Iran never got back to him in a timely manner or whatever. So that's partially what's instigated all this. And again, I don't like the mullahs. I think the mullahs are evil. Do I think Benjamin Netanyahu is not evil? No, I believe Benjamin Netanyahu is evil. He's a vaccine pimp and whore. He pushed COVID. He pushed their green pass, their vaccine passport. He pushed that. He's leveling villages in Lebanon that are Christian. Please. All right, go to the next one for me. You don't even know where I'm at. Let me see. Where am I? All right, here we are. Get off on these tirades. I can't remember where I am. All right, Eric Doherty. I wanted to show you now. This is now 11 gram MAGA. This is 11 gram MAGA. Eric Doherty. Breaking. The U.S. military is now striking Iran. Sitcom. President Trump's long-awaited FAFO is now playing out in real time.
Ugh.
I mean, imagine this being that up somebody's rectum. I mean, I talked to one of my favorite pastors, and he said, you know what, some of these preachers, they have their heads so far up there, they're blinded by Trump's turds. So it's like, and that's the whole thing. They have their heads so far up Trump's butt that they're completely just absolutely blinded by his own feces. And I mean, imagine putting this out as a grown man. Breaking. President Trump's long-awaited FAFO is now playing out in real time. Oh, wow. And I played this in the pregame, the Nick Sordor video. This is odd behavior to me by Donald Trump. Play it for me.
So we'll see what happens. But we hit him hard yesterday, and we're going to hit him again hard today in case you miss it, in case you don't turn on your television set. And we'll see what happens with the deal.
He acts like he's reading a nursery rhyme to somebody. And we hit him today, and we're going to hit him harder tomorrow. Ugh. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, again, I know I'm speaking to a well-read audience, but I mean, come on. Anybody left on this train? Again, wouldn't you love to you're like, Tom, we wish you would discuss something else. I can't. There's nothing else to discuss. Aaron, can we go to where the wall's being built?
Nope.
Okay, none of that. Can we go to the mass deportation videos?
No.
How about the lower interest rate videos?
No.
All right, how about the lower inflation videos?
No.
The booming economy videos?
Nope.
The lower housing prices videos?
No.
Okay, there isn't anything.
Yeah.
What else? What am I leaving? Oh, can we go to the war? Can we go to the videos celebrating no new wars?
Oh, no.
Okay, can we go to the videos where Trump fervently is attacking Lindsey Graham?
Nope.
Okay, I'm just curious. All right, so here's another one for you. I just want to show you the mindset of Levin Graham MAGA. The second round of attacks on Iran are taking place now, says Mark Levin. I'm all for it. I don't understand why Israel strikes 48 hours ago in response to 11 ballistic missiles. Trump just said that Iran's military is dead. But they sent 11 ballistic missiles fired at its country, caused so much criticism. The second round of attacks on Iran is taking place now. Trump's long-awaited FAFO is happening in real time. That's Levin Graham MAGA. That's what we have now. There's nothing left of the real MAGA. It's gone. It's over. And I don't think it can ever come back. Let me show you some more. Laura Loomer. President Trump's airstrikes in Iran will continue. Finally, says Laura Loomer, who has more invested in her face to make herself ugly than basically the national debt. Okay, I mean, it's somebody who would never fight in a war, somebody who would never allow herself to have a broken fingernail, somebody who's never physically exerted herself in her life. Finally, more airstrikes as people are dying. Innocent people are dying. Okay, there are people. Listen, most of Iran is not the IRGC. Just like most of China is the Lao Beijing, not the CCP. So as these idiots like Levin and Loomer are celebrating, innocent people are dying. For what reason? So that Eric and Donald Trump Jr. can continue to make $3.5 billion off of AI and off the military industrial complex. You're like, Tom, how can you be so anti-Trump? There you go, Aaron. Good. There she is.
That's before and after.
Yeah, that's her before and after pic, by the way.
Oof.
I mean, stick with the before, stick with the before. But anyway, you're like, how can you be so anti-Trump? I'm not anti-Trump. I am anti anything that's not conservative. Is this conservative? Everybody right now, Kat Turd, Gunther Riegelman, Sean Ferris, Benny Johnson, all hated the Bushes for doing what Trump's doing, and then Trump does what the Bushes are doing, and suddenly it's good. I mean, imagine how devoid of consciousness you have to be a human being like that. It's beyond me. It really is. All right, go to the next one for me. Here's Laura Loomer again. Speaking from CENTCOM just now, Secretary of War said President Trump will be striking Iran hard tonight. When is it that you telegraph your attacks, by the way? And we'll do it again tomorrow. So you tell him you're attacking him tonight, and you're telling him you're going to attack him again tomorrow. If Iran refuses to make a deal. So here we are, back to Trump's game show. Let's make a deal with the mullahs. Yeah, you notice how the mullahs are not making a deal on day 103, day 104 of the war? 104 days later in the 4-day war. Netanyahu's only off by 100 days so far. And the Cauchy odds, or it's a polymarketer Cauchy, the Cauchy odds of a deal being signed before the end of July are 40%. And that's going to go down. All right, go to the next one. We have the Laura Loomer tweet. Another woke right candidate gets defeated tonight. She's celebrating Lindsey Graham winning. She calls you and I woke right because we wanted Mark Lynch to win. Woke right for the pro-life candidate, the anti-war candidate, the wall candidate, the mass deportations candidate, the cutting of the national debt candidate. That's being woke. The woke right is what she calls us. So being woke right means that you stand for traditional, real conservatism. They call me a non-conservative because I call them out for not being conservative. Because conservative now means whatever Trump says it means. It's pathetic. The woke right has won 0 elections, only in the primaries, dip squat. They think, he lost one in Iowa. They think he's going to lose with Fishback too. They think Fishback's within a few points of Byron Donalds right now. They think they run the GOP, but all they do is lose. I'm so sick of them. She's celebrating Lindsey Graham. That's why I said to Sean Ferris, and she put out the obligatory I'm against Lindsey Graham too, but then celebrates him winning. Just like Sean Ferris does. I guarantee it, because Trump wins again. As long as Trump wins, if Trump wins and an initiative of every puppy dies, they would all celebrate it because Trump won. That's how pathetic these people are. It's just a pathetic existence. It really is. It's a pathetic existence. Go to the next one for me. Let's go to Benjamin Netanyahu, shall we? From today. The anti-Semitic dictator, Erdogan. Did I tell you? Who's next?
Turkey.
Will it be Turkey? Will it be Pakistan? Probably Turkey because they're not nuclear. Could probably get Trump involved in that one too, and then Farish and Giegelman and Cat Turd and Laura Loomer and all the rest. Oh, suddenly now they're going to be anti-turkey too. They probably won't have any turkey for Thanksgiving because Trump's anti-turkey. Right now, Trump's claiming that him and Erdogan are good buddies, though. The anti-Semitic dictator. So if you speak against anything Israel does. So if I say that I am against a rabbi in Israel owning Pornhub, I'm anti-Semitic, right? Right? If I say that, I'm anti-Semitic. Which, by the way, is true. Or Rabbi Shmuley selling sex toys with his daughter on national television. Does that make me anti-Semitic? Because I speak against that? If I speak against Benjamin Netanyahu loving lab-grown meat, does that make me anti-Semitic? Leveling Gaza for no reason, anti-Semitic. Leveling Lebanon for no reason, anti-Semitic. That's the Benjamin Netanyahu narrative. And by the way, the Muslims do the same thing. So which side do you choose? Neither. Muslims do the same thing. You start saying things against Muslims or against Islam, you're now Islamophobic. It's the same game played by two different regimes, two evil regimes who are committing genocide against the Kurds. Let's like to see proof of that. Supports the Hamas terrorist organization, oppresses his own people and imprisons political rivals. Is the last person who can lecture the state of Israel on morality. The state of Israel and the IDF, the most moral army in the world, Aaron, will continue to take forceful action against Iran and its proxies, which threaten the Middle East and the entire world. I don't feel threatened by Iran. Have you ever in your life? No. Then why are we attacking them? If their army's gone and their navy's gone and then we were told in July of 2025 that their nuclear capabilities are gone, why are we at war? Why exactly are we at war? I'd love to know that. So here's what Mark Levin said. Go to the next one. Speaking of Hitler, Erdogan, 11 gram, MAGA. They're all part of it. Every one of them. Again, I know I'm just throwing out the names that come into my head, and I know that it's redundant, but you just need to know. This is the mouthpiece for 11 gram MAGAs, Mark Levin. Speaking of Hitler, Erdogan, all of you every day, you just think, man, you know what? Erdogan, that prime minister of Turkey, man, what a grievous threat to America. And he's Hitler. You think that, don't you? Well, Mark Levin does. All right, speaking of Hitler, Erdogan, who funds Hamas and is a close ally of Iran and Qatar, and by the way, Trump says he's his close friend too. So how are you going to work that in, Mark? Is spewing his poison. A long ceasefire has many negative ancillary consequences. We need to finish off the Iranian regime. How do you do that? Arm the Iranian people, open the strait, then leave. Explain how you do that. What level of force will it take to do that? How will you do that? How will you take the Strait of Hormuz? You will have to own every single island in the strait and the entire coastline of Iran. How are you going to pull that off? It's just rhetoric to feed money to the people who feed money to Levin. That's it. That's all that it is. It really is. So Erdogan now has become this great enemy. All right, go to the next one for me. Furkan Gusakara video. Here's Trump on Erdogan. Play it for me.
Thank you, President. I have two questions. First of all, Turkish President Erdogan keeps threatening Israel. Do you think there's a chance of a conflict between Israel and Turkey, and will you sell F-35 to
Well, as you know, he's a very good friend of mine. And we've worked very well together. I like him a lot. I'm not supposed to say that because the press will say, oh, he likes Erdogan. No, he's a hell of a leader and a strong person, very strong person. I haven't heard that at all. If I did, I'd call him, and I think I'd make sure that things were fine. I don't think that will happen with Turkey, not as long as I'm president, because he respects me and I respect him. But beyond that, we have a good friendship. So, we'll see.
And my second question, that's my second question. Besides peace and
We were told a whole lot of things wouldn't happen as long as he was president, remember? We told that the Ukraine war would already be over. He said he would fix that in 24 hours. Of course, that hasn't happened. I mean, it's only been a year and a half and done nothing. And we still are funding Ukraine, by the way, while we get Russian oil. While we fund Russia, we're also funding Ukraine. Weird, isn't it? It's almost as if you have this circle bleep symbiote going on where you have politicians like Donald Trump Jr. and like Eric Trump, sons of the president, enriching themselves because of the legislation and executive actions of their own father, as well as Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and Ro Khanna and all the rest of the people that are enriching themselves, all through their own executive actions. Right? It's kind of weird. It's almost like the only thing that we exist for is so that 535 people on Capitol Hill can get rich and help their families and their friends get rich. That's it. while we are $40 trillion in debt. Kind of weird, isn't it? So there it is. So Trump says he hasn't heard of any of these. Remember now, we just heard from Mark Levin that Erdogan is Hitler and is threatening, and him and Benjamin Netanyahu being that Erdogan is threatening Israel, right? And Trump actually honestly says, I haven't heard any of that. Do you know why he hasn't heard any of that? Because it hasn't happened. So Benjamin Netanyahu and Mark Levin are lying. Here it is from Grok. Early 2025 to 2026. Israel strikes in Syria and Lebanon threaten Turkey directly. Netanyahu and his network of murder. This is what Turkey, this is the threats on Israel from Erdogan. This is what he said. Israel strikes in Syria and Lebanon threaten Turkey directly. That's what he said. Netanyahu and his network of murder endanger regional security. Israel's aggression must be stopped as a global threat. Warnings against joining Israel's boat of mischief in the Eastern Mediterranean. There's the threats.
Wow.
That's horrible. And here's one more. April 2026. Renewed warnings of potential action over Lebanon bombardment, accusations of expansionism. His threats were accusations of expansionism as Israel expands into southern Lebanon.
Right.
So as he tells the truth about Israel is threatening Israel and makes you an anti-Semitic Hitler when you simply tell the truth about him. Okay, can we say as a Lebanese villages, the most Christian country in the Middle East, can we say that every single one of those houses is Hezbollah? Can we? No. So when I say that, I'm anti-Semitic, right? That's Graham Levin MAGA for you. Harry Etten video, Netanyahu's political luck might finally run out. Play it for me.
Yeah, it turns out that Bibi Netanyahu's political luck might have finally run out, right? Bibi Netanyahu, who was first elected prime minister all the way back when I was in elementary school, and of course has held on to power in some form or fashion to now when I'm long past elementary school. Look at this. Chance Netanyahu is Israel's prime minister after the 2026 election. Look, 50 days ago it was about an even split, 51%. But down it goes, down it goes. Now we're just talking about a 1 in 3 possibility, 33% chance that Netanyahu is still the prime minister after the next elections. So Netanyahu's chances have been going down, down, down into the Red Sea as we're looking at this compared to 50 days ago.
Now, part of the issue isn't, as it is maybe for President Trump, that he's fighting the war on Iran at all. It's that he's not maybe doing it more or better.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, okay. So simple question is, if the Iran war ended today, would it basically be in Israel's security interest? And just take a look here. I think this kind of gives it away. If Iran war has in fact ended, is it in Israel's security interest? 58% of Israelis and 63% of Israeli Jews say no, it is in fact not in Israel's interest. So the political calculus for Bibi Netanyahu is significantly different than it is for Donald Trump. If Israel continues on in this war, it may actually be politically advantageous for Bibi Netanyahu. In a way, it simply put isn't for Donald Trump. And that is why I think we've been seeing the news reports in recent days of the two of them not necessarily lined up in terms of the goals when it comes to the war in Iran.
Swear words.
Yes.
Swear words on phone calls.
Yes.
Reportedly. How do Israelis feel about how Netanyahu and the Israeli government is waging the war on Hezbollah?
Yeah, so this Iran is one thing. How about Hezbollah? And, again, here, look at this. Israelis on the handling of Hezbollah. Look at this. Not good, poor. 52%, the majority. Just 18% say good. 53% of Israeli Jews, in fact, say not good, poor. So we're talking about a war on two fronts, against Iran, against Hezbollah. And what you're essentially seeing is that the Israelis not so hot to trot on all of this.
Okay, so Netanyahu has been prime minister for a total of almost 20 years over various times since 1996. Clearly no term limits there. How do Israelis feel about maybe instituting such things? Yeah,
okay. This might be the biggest indictment of Netanyahu of all. Two-term limit for Israel prime ministers after Netanyahu. 61% of Israelis, 65% of Israeli Jews say yes. I think that Netanyahu, you eventually wear out your political welcome. We'll see. Bibi Netanyahu has pulled rabbits out of hats before, but his luck might have finally run out.
The absolute ultimate political survivor.
Yeah.
We will see. Harry, thank you very much. We do have a lot of news this morning. We'll be right back.
So just like in the United States, it was a great video put out by Peter St. Ange that we played on this podcast, where we have these areas of agreement. Believe me, I don't want to agree with Democrats, but we have areas of agreement. And again, I'm not talking about a coalition with any Democrats, baby butchering monsters. But you know what? If we have line item legislation where we go, you know what? We want to deport all illegal aliens. 70% of Democrats agree with that, but they don't. But their leaders don't vote for it. All right. So, and again, there's a myriad of other issues like that too. That are what are called 80-20 issues. All right. But we never get what we vote for. We end up with John Thune and Lindsey Graham, which Laura Loomer loves, Sean Ferris loves, Gunther Eagleman loves, Cat Turd loves. They love Lindsey Graham. Congratulations. Defeating another woke right candidate. So we never get what we want. And you can see right there that Israel's not getting what they want. The handling of Hezbollah, in other words, the leveling of southern Lebanon, all the Israeli citizens think it's not going well. I think it was, 52% of them said it's not being handled well. All right. And 61% of them want term limits because of Netanyahu. But then you see how unpopular it is. But then look who comes to his rescue. Put the next one up. Here's Markey. There are polls and there are polls. This is a poll from one of the most reliable polling groups in Israel. Who has the best chance of forming the next government? Netanyahu. So Levin to the rescue. Go to the next one. One more, Mark Levin. The more you know about Churchill, the more you greatly respect Netanyahu. Great job. And remember now, Donald Trump said, when you hear Mark Levin speak, he's speaking for me. That's a quote, by the way. That's exactly what he said. Go next for me. Here's the, it says, can you I can't see whether it's Cauchy. Polymarket, there it is. U.S. Times Iran permanent peace deal by June 31st, 2026. So basically by August is now at, Aaron, if correct me if I'm wrong, is that 30%?
30.
30%.
31.
Congratulations. Isn't that great? And by the way, that's all the rest of June, all the rest of July. How many days are we going to have then? I mean, again, 34. We'll be at a day 150 something by then. Isn't that great? We'll be getting up close half of a year. Yeah.
15 days to flatten the war.
4 days, yeah. 15 days to flatten a war. There we go. All right, let's change some subjects here. Grace Chong video. Bannon. Speaker Johnson is reportedly heading back to the White House to deliver a message from Hakeem Jeffries. So Republicans are toting a message. The tote boy, piss boy, Mike Johnson, is toting. Remember now, Mike Johnson voted to refund Planned Parenthood, voted for transgender surgery for minors. That's what he all did because he voted for Biden's spending package. So anyway, he's now toting a message from Hakeem Jeffries. It's about Bill Pulte, the new DNI. At Pulte can't be DNI. So this is what he's telling them, because the Dems won't support it and you can't get FISA through. So, gosh, this is unreal, dude. He's actually using FISA as if it was a good thing to get Pulte in. That's literally like trading piss for poop. You can have the poo-poo if I give you the pee-pee. That's what this is. So if we want FISA, we have to dump Pulte being the DNI. Allegedly, Pulte, Bannon loves him. I don't know much about him. So in order for you to get Pulte, you have got to give the Democrats, you got to take, in order for you don't, by the way, you can't get Pulte is what Democrats are saying. So you're not going to get Pulte, but if you dump Pulte, which is poo-poo, then we'll give you FISA, which is pee-pee. Do you see? That's the trade. You get some giant load of crap for a giant bottle of piss. This is what you and I vote for, by the way. There are rare exceptions to these rules. And Donald Trump was supposed to be the grand exception. Certainly is not. All right, here's Bannon. Play it for me.
Yes, I can't believe this. Johnson is going back to the White House to deliver a message to President Trump from Hakeem Jeffries. They're tweeting this out. He's going to deliver a message that Bill Pulte has got to go. Bill Pulte can't be put in as DNI. That Hakeem Jeffries, no Democrat was supported. That you can't get FISA through. Screw FISA. So Johnson, why are you carrying water for Hakeem Jeffries? We don't care what if the Democrats want it, we don't. If the Democrats think FISA extension is good as it is, then we don't want it. Let me just give you some basic laws of political physics. It is disgusting. The Tom Cottons, the Johnsons, the John Thunes carrying the water of the deep state. And on the streets of Belfast, you're seeing it right now explode. And Starmer and everybody. I wonder when Bruce Springsteen is going to write a song about this.
And by the way, all of Graham Levin MAGA hate him. They all hate Steve Bannon, who got Trump elected in 2016. Alone, for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
So go to the next one. Thomas Massey. Thank goodness we got rid of Thomas Massey. We got Mike Johnson being a piss boy for Hakeem Jeffries, going up and saying, listen, you got to give up Pulte. And if you give up Pulte, we'll give you FISA. Donald Trump wants FISA back. FISA was the attempt of James Comey and Andrew McCabe to put him in federal prison for collusion with Russia by lying on FISA warrants that they've never been prosecuted for. And now Donald Trump wants to reinstitutionalize it, but don't worry, Aaron. They've put in some alterations on it, so it's not exactly the same as it was. Although it's a spying operation.
That's fine.
So Thomas Massey, thank goodness we got rid of Thomas Massey. Here we go again. Look at the date from today. The House is going to debate a clean reauthorization of the unconstitutional FISA 702 program. Isn't that how we want people to talk? Instead, we've got Mike Johnson offering the poop of getting rid of Bill Pulte for FISA. Wouldn't you rather have this? Remember Sean Ferris when you were against FISA, when FISA was used against Donald Trump, and now you want the guy who wants to get rid of FISA out of Congress, and you succeeded using Jewish money? AIPAC money? Do you remember when you weren't the way that you are now? You remember when you didn't call people who are advocating for conservatism non-conservatives? Like, Tom, what you said just made no sense. No, that's Benny Johnson. That's Eric Doherty. That's Kat Tord. That's Sean Ferris. That's Laura Loomer. If you call for conservatives to be conservatives, you're no longer conservative. That's how they talk now. The program is used to surveil Americans without a warrant. And Trump may be willing to assuage Hakeem Jeffries because Hakeem Jeffries wants FISA. Why would you go for anything that Hakeem Jeffries wants? Why? Because somebody's making money off of it. That's why. I'll be joining the C-SPAN debate on the floor in the next hour. We have him fighting against FISA, but thank God we got rid of him.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Great job, Len Graham MAGA. Go to the next one for me. Here's Stephen Miller. Remember, FISA 702 is the authority for surveillance on foreign soil, he says. Mm-hmm. That's completely wrong. The core of all U.S. security. A libertarian demand to make Secretary of War get approval from liberal D.C. judges, the ones who targeted Trump. You're wanting to get, not approval, you're wanting to get this, Aaron, get this, Will, warrants to wiretap Americans. Because Stephen Miller, being the deep state hack, Trump anal puppet that he is, what he's advocating for, everything that he's saying is complete lies. He's actually advocating because he's not forgetting, he's purposely obfuscating that what they do is they go like this. Will ordered his new phone from, where would you get phones from overseas? Where do they build? Where's all Apple built? China?
Like Taiwan.
Taiwan. So Will ordered a product from Taiwan. So now they go, he has a contact with a foreign entity. So they do what's called the one-hop rule. Remember when Dan Bongino used to be a man of integrity? When he talked about FISA, he talked about the one-hop rule. Remember that back in those days? Now he's a whore. It's a shame. It's a shame. But anyway, so they go, well, he has a tacit connection to a foreign entity. So they go, now we're going to one-hop to Will's private phone calls. Yep. And that's what Stephen Miller is advocating for. Because he's a deep state Palantir. They're not even right wing. You have to call them right wing sort of to identify them, but they're antithetical to right wing. They are Palantir totalitarians, pro data center totalitarians, mark of the beast totalitarians. And where does Stephen Miller come from? Jewish descent. All right. So anyway, the ones no conservative aim is ever served through the subservience to leftist DC judges. Readers added content, conservative, a community note. Of the 11 FISA judges, only 2 are from the D.C. district. So he's lying. They're not even D.C. district judges. 2 out of 10. And 8 were appointed to the district by Republicans.
Oops.
Thomas Massey replies, most of the FISA judges are federal judges from outside D.C., and we're talking about warrants for the FBI to search the databases, not the Secretary of War. Everything, these people, again, How does Stephen Miller go home and look at his wife and children, if he has them, in the eyes and say that you are worth anything as a human being when you have no integrity? You will lie on command. Unless the Secretary of War is targeting American citizens. Is there something you want to tell us? Yeah, maybe there is. All right, go to the next one for me. So here's a cogent point by Guthrie Eagleman. And here's what I wrote on the bottom. Our Republican senators are siding with 15% of Americans who don't want secure elections. He's right. And you just voted for one to be back in office, moron. You're celebrating that Mark Lynch lost to Lindsey Graham. So as you're advocating against these senators, you're voting them back in. You're like, Tom, what you're saying makes no sense. No, Guthrie makes no sense. Our Republican senators are siding with 2% of the Americans who want to fund the Taliban. Right. Why doesn't Trump do something about it? Aaron, pull up all the videos of Trump just raging against us sending $40 million a week to the Taliban.
Zero.
None.
Yep.
Well, then, thank goodness you got rid of Massey then, is what I wrote. Graham Levin, MAGA logic. Oh, these senators are horrible. Go get Massey. They're stupid. They're stupid human beings. All right, go to the next one for me. Here's what Thomas Massey's on and about doing. I just voted against the Ukraine Support Act tonight. It sends over $9 billion of your dollars overseas and includes $250 million for Radio Free Europe, a Cold War relic that benefits no American. There you go. Luckily, it looks like 17 other. Let me see. I just voted against. A whole bunch of Republicans voted against it, so that's good. It looks like if I'm reading it right, all the Democrats voted for it again. So this must have been a Democrat bill. We got to get rid of Massey, though. Got to get rid of him. We want to send $250 million more to Ukraine. All right, go to the next one. All right, so let's go to LA mayoral campaign and election fraud. So here you are, LA mayor primary 2026. Top 3 candidates since election day. These are how the votes have gone. Do you see this? Since election day. This day 1, 2 after election, day 3 after election, day 4 after the election. And you see how it's Nithya Raman ended up eclipsing Spencer Pratt after the election was already over. Just had to put this out. Again, this is the greatness of Trump is trying to correct our elections, but we can't do it because we're fighting a war. So again, this would be one of those wonderful things, wouldn't it? If me and you could say, we're not talking about Iran tonight. We never have to use the word Strait of Hormuz again. We never have to use the word nuclear dust or any of this crap ever again. We don't have to talk about Israel leveling Lebanon. We don't have to talk about any of those things because what we're talking about tonight is the SAVE Act is passed and our elections are secured. As well as these mass deportations, 3 million deportations. The wall has been built. Houses are now affordable. Groceries are back to pre-COVID spending rates, COVID prices. And our government is back to pre-COVID spending rates. And Trump has lowered the national debt. No, none of that has happened.
Yeah.
Doge is just kicking it. Elon Musk has cut $1 trillion off of the national budget. No, we got none of it. Absolutely none of it. And we have corrupt elections still going on. Because John Thune, to this day, has not granted one, if you saw it in the pregame, not one recess appointment to Donald J. Trump. And Trump does nothing about it but re-elect Lindsey Graham, who supports John Thune. Not one. In the history, in modern history, because I can't go back. I could have researched it long enough, but I can speak all the way back to Reagan. Not one president has not gotten many, many, many recess appointments. When you had a Republican Senate, they gave recess appointments to Hussein Obama, to Biden, to everybody. And again, I don't know when they were Republican, when they weren't. I'm just saying, as a general rule, when Republicans owned the Senate, they still gave recess appointments to presidents that were not Republicans. We own the Senate, and John Thune has been ordered by Mitch McConnell to make sure you gavel in every day, even when nobody's there. So what happens is they send all 50 senators, all 100 senators home. They leave one there and they gavel in and hold a session so that they can say they're in session and never give Trump a recess appointment. But Tom, you're anti-Trump, not anti-Trump. I'm anti-Trump. I'm anti-Trump when he does non-conservative things because I am anti things that are not conservative. New wars are not conservative. So I am anti the new war. Spending $3 trillion over our budget since you've been president is anti-conservative. So I am anti-conservatism. And all this could be, at least we could be radically trying to fix it, but no. Instead, we're going to reelect Lindsey Graham, who loves John Thune. Great move. Go next for me. Lives a TikTok tweet. If you're wondering how this happens, here it is. U.S. Attorney Bill Azalea reveals California lets people register to vote using gym memberships, employer ID cards, credit and debit cards, prescription drug labels. So you go there with your OxyContin label and you get to register to vote. An insurance card, and California is blocking a federal audit of voter rolls. And then the Democrats, again, it's fun to actually, and wouldn't it be great if we could just talk about Democrats instead of having a MAGA civil war? Which we wouldn't have a MAGA civil war if we weren't in a brand new war. So there you go. So, I mean, we could be attacking this right now. We could be putting pressure on John Thune. There's no pressure on John Thune because the Secretary of War is giving a speech about the war. Donald Trump is giving a speech about the war. Everybody's talking about the war. So we can't really fix any of these things, even though I believe Donald Trump wants to fix it. I believe he knows. I know he knows that he was actually screwed out of the presidency in 2020 via a fraudulent COVID election. But nothing's being done about it because they won't. Listen, you don't even need to necessarily pass the SAVE Act. You could get in here and do a lot more investigations. But that's not happening either. There's no passion for it because we're busy in a new war. Let me show you how it'll actually, if you could actually turn America, you can just side by side this one. You could turn America this way. You could actually turn America. This is Ron DeSantis' tweet. This is what he put out. The U.S. debt clock counts up by a lot, which I'm glad he said it. Florida's debt clock, here's Florida's debt clock. Let's watch it. It's going down. It can actually be done. You know how you do it? You be a conservative. That's how you do it. It doesn't make me not a conservative when I point out that conservatives are doing non-conservative things. Just because I'm attacking a conservative doesn't make me a liberal or a non-conservative. And I'm only attacking conservatives when they do non-conservative things because this could actually happen in the United States. But what are we doing? $2 billion a day with a naval blockade of Iran, a third world country with 95 million people in it. That's no threat to us. But it feeds the military-industrial complex $2 billion a day. And the military-industrial complex are the maskers, the vaccine pimps and whores, leftists, and rhinos and neocons. So it can happen. This can actually happen. Our debt clock in Florida is going down. That's not the case nationally. Got to show you this video. RNC research video. Jim Jordan versus a representative of Act Blue. Now, remember, Act Blue, we chronicled it on this podcast when we talked about other things besides Iran. Someday we'll get back to that. But anyway, Act Blue, and again, I'm making these numbers up, but I'm not exaggerating the numbers. Act Blue, and why is Act Blue not in federal prison? Why are the many, many people who have orchestrated this fraud, why are they not in prison? Why are they not in prison? It's amazing. I mean, again, a lot of these crimes are blanketly open. They are right there, and nobody does anything about it. Why? Because of the political consequences of doing it. You're going to be called a weaponized DOJ if you go after Act Blue. Act Blue will do things like this. They'll say they received 10,000 donations over a 5-year period from Mr. Wilson, an 85-year-old war veteran who lives in Bloomington, Indiana. That's what they'll say. And they go and they interview the person. They said, I gave to Act Blue once 12 years ago. And they use that information and then facilitate foreign investment into the Democratic Party. In other words, foreign fraudulent election investment through the names of people who legitimately gave one time. And they'll say the person gave 10,000 times. Why? How? Again, that's just blanket fraud. I mean, if they just said, they try to do it, maybe use the name once or twice, 2-3 times. Say, Bill Wilson, he gave once, 12 years ago, and then 2 more times over the next 12 years, and then use that to facilitate the foreign money into elections. Fine. I mean, it's not fine. It's a crime. But I mean, at least you'd be smart doing it. But no, they claim Bill Wilson gave 10,000 times. We have it on the show where one woman, she was asked, did you give to Act Blue 5,000 times? She gave $20 to $30 5,000 times. That's what they do. They take that money. They take $1 million worth of money, split it up 10,000 times, and then say that it was given by an American citizen 10,000 times. And they're not in federal prison. All right, here's Jim Jordan versus Act Blue. Look how Act Blue answers. Play it for me.
Your board chairman said ActBlue accepted up to 38 million contributions in 2024 that had the signs of foreign origin. How much fraud is too much fraud?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How many foreign contributions did ActBlue accept?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
How much money did ActBlue accept from Russia?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Why did your entire legal team quit? Your in-house legal team?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
And again, as unhappy as I am with Trump, the Democrats are worse. They're almost indistinguishable right now. We're back in another new war. Economy sucks. Gas prices are through the roof. Spending at the same post-COVID levels, so nothing really has changed. But if you could get worse, they're worse, and that's an example of it right there. They are worse. Again, I could do an entire show on ActBlue, but that's why she can't answer. That is Miss Wallace Jones, Chief Executive Officer of ActBlue. Corrupt to the hill. And California refuses any sort of audit of their elections by anybody and auditing of their voter rolls. All right, let's go back to Israel. Let's do a little conspiracy, shall we? That's always fun. Sam Parker video. Number one, today is the anniversary of the I don't know what day this is, sometime in the last couple of days, is the anniversary of the assassination of RFK, Robert F. Kennedy, at the Ambassador Hotel minutes after he won the 1968 California primary. He was supposed to exit through a ballroom, but a certain culprit spontaneously diverted him to the pantry where assassins were waiting for him. So he was supposed to leave through the ballroom, and then a suspicious human being with a suspicious origin diverted him into the kitchen where the assassins were waiting. Play it for me.
When we got to the podium, I thought, where's his security? There's no security. He doesn't have any security. There was one person.
I thank all of you. And Dolores Huerta, who's an old friend of mine and has worked with the union. My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there.
After Kennedy's victory speech, Dolores Huerta had been officially assigned to lead him off the stage to his right, which is to the left if you're facing the stage, in order to walk through the crowded ballroom and meet up with a mariachi band.
The plan was that after he spoke, my job was to take the senator over to the ballroom. We had a mariachi band that was waiting there for him.
After his speech, Bobby Kennedy turns right and begins heading toward the mariachi band as planned. However, Frank Mankiewicz, an Anti-Defamation League spy operating on behalf of the Israeli Mossad, had infiltrated Bobby Kennedy's campaign under the cover of being his press secretary. Mankiewicz turns RFK around and points him into the kitchen pantry where a team of assassins waited to ambush and shoot Kennedy.
But as we left the podium, they said, "Senator, come to the kitchen." And then one of our staff, they caught my arm and said, "Hey, Dolores, what happened? You're supposed to be taking him to the ballroom." I said, they're taking him to the kitchen. And then I couldn't catch up with the senator after that.
Let's watch it again in slow motion. Kennedy turns to his right, our left as we face the stage, and begins walking toward the mariachi band. He encounters ADL and Israeli Mossad assassination coordinator Frank Mankiewicz. Mankiewicz spins Bobby around by pointing him directly toward the ambush in the kitchen. Mankiewicz blocks Bobby's path and moves forward toward Kennedy to ensure RFK can't escape from the gunmen waiting in the kitchen. A hotel maitre d' named Carl Euchre was used as a pawn to grab Bobby's arm and lead him into the ambush. Mankiewicz made sure no real security was available to guard Bobby.
And when I sat down and read the autopsy report, it became clear to me, as it would to anybody who read that report, that Sirhan could not have killed my father, which is what Thomas Noguchi, the coroner, the most important coroner probably in American history, concluded also and said in his autobiography. And here's what happened, the short story. Sirhan fired 2 shots at my father. He was 5 feet away. There was, as I said, there was absolute mayhem in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel. My father just won the primary. He said from the stage, and now it's on to Chicago, which was where the convention was. Then he walks off the stage and he went into a route that was not expected. He was led into a route through the kitchen, which he was not supposed to go to. And waiting in the kitchen in an ambush was Sirhan standing in front of a steam table. And as my father approached the steam table, Sirhan fired at him 2 shots. One of those hit Paul Schrade. The other one went past my father's ear and hit a door jamb behind my father, a wooden door jamb, from which it was later removed by the LAPD.
That's just strange. I mean, Frank Mankiewicz just happens to be there, and he's an ADL activist, Anti-Defamation League activist, and known Mossad agent. And you see on the video, turns. Now, who were they? Well, JFK, RFK. What were they vehemently against? AIPAC.
Yep.
Viet wanted them to register under FARA. It wasn't called AIPAC at the time, but it's AIPAC. They wanted them to register under FARA. Weird. And they both end up dead. Getting shot to death. And it's just weird how you just happen to have this Frank Mankiewicz there, isn't it? I mean, ADL, Anti-Defamation League, and known Mossad agent. Weird. I mean, I know it's all coincidence. I know. Of course. Speaking of coincidence, let's go to this one. Alex video. According to the documents released under the Freedom of Information Act, one solution suggested in American government circles was to sink the Liberty so journalists could not photograph it and inflame public opinion against Israel. Play it for him.
The Israeli government and the U.S. Naval Attaché dropped a brown paper sack on the deck in the forepart of the ship, weighted down with an orange, had a business card in it. It landed right next to the severed leg of one of the deck personnel.
And the note said, "Do you have casualties?" Pretty obvious that there were casualties. I mean, there's still body parts and blood streaming down the bulkheads. So his message, "Do you have casualties?" was kind of out of place.
One of the sailors carried that sack back to the captain, and the captain took out the note and read it, looked up at the helicopter and popped the social finger at it.
June the 8th, 1967, the height of the Six-Day War. The USS Liberty, an American spy ship, had just been attacked by Israeli jets and torpedo boats while in international waters off Egypt. Badly damaged, 2/3 of its crew were dead or wounded. As soon as the news reached Washington, the attack on the Liberty instantly triggered a domestic political crisis. According to documents released under the Freedom of Information Act, one solution suggested in American government circles was to sink the Liberty so journalists could not photograph it and inflame public opinion against the Israelis. The NSA rejected this idea with an impolite comment. Handling the media became the top priority.
I was taken to my home in White Oak, Maryland. My name is Patricia Blue Rashakis, and my husband was killed on the Liberty. And by the time I got there, there were any number of people from the National Security Agency there. They were there to make sure that I didn't speak to anyone from the press, and I didn't. They stayed night and day.
Back in the Mediterranean, the Liberty was now listing at 10 degrees, a massive hole in the hull, above and below the waterline.
The planes that they said they were sending to us never arrived.
What I was afraid of, and I think most of us, was that we were going to sink. Well, the mess decks was pretty much littered with the wounded.
It looks like something out of a horror movie with people standing around or lying, wounded and dead and stunned, their heads missing, parts of their bodies.
The Liberty had only one doctor on board, with very limited medical resources.
There was not a table that wasn't being used with a body on it or a wounded body on it.
The doctor fixed compound fractures and treated bullet and shrapnel wounds, while blood transfusions were given arm to arm.
It was real bad.
And the doctor said to him, "Do you want me to operate?" He says, "You're probably going to die if I do it, and you'll certainly die if I don't." And he said, "Go ahead, doctor." And so when the doctor operated, we held him as tight as we could. It was horrible pain, I'm sure, for him. And all of a sudden, he went limp and he died right there.
I don't want to ever see anything like that again.
Captain McGonigal received a pretty bad leg injury, lost a lot of blood. He was navigating by the stars.
We had a little bit of power and tons of water in our belly, which meant the ship waved back and forth all night long.
The next day, American ships arrived to take the injured and the dead off the Liberty. The American government now made sure that no journalists could get anywhere near the crew.
When they took the severely wounded to various parts, they actually posted guards on their rooms so that no one could be interviewed by the press. The total press blackout was in effect.
Back in Washington, the government ensured there was little information for the press, while politics went on behind closed doors.
But don't you worry, because now we're merging our military with theirs via Section 622 of the Senate bill and 224 of the congressional bill. So we'll merge our military development, our military operations. There's even a person that's actually put in place, like as a czar, that you have to like go through them whenever you don't want to include Israel in whatever we're doing. So that's what we're doing. And that's all being passed by people who receive AIPAC money. Look it up, 622-224. Look it up. It's right there. And it's very strange, too. You look at the attack on the Liberty, and we said, who was speaking on the floor first time ever in the history of Congress was speaking on the floor about the Liberty? Thomas Massey. Thank goodness we got rid of him.
Yeah.
Israel claims that it was all an accident. A 90-minute accident? 90 minutes worth of attacks. And by the way, not just attacks coming from the air, but also coming from the submarines. And even back then in 1967, I believe, which weird kind of era, isn't it?
Yeah.
JFK dead, RFK dead, Liberty attacked, very strange circumstances. But anyway, all with very, very direct connections to Israel. But anyway, even back then, the communications were very good and high tech. You could easily have communicated to Israel, and they were, that's an American ship. But I believe LBJ orchestrated the whole thing, as well as the JFK assassination, according to Roger Stone. But anyways, for 90 minutes, this went on. And you can't get a communique, a telegram, signal. And by the way, an American flag flying over the Liberty the entire time until it was burned off, I guess. But anyway, for 90 minutes from our greatest ally. And to this day, and then the number one priority of the Lyndon Baines Johnson administration was to keep everybody quiet so that Israel doesn't get offended and so the press doesn't attack Israel. Why? Because, Tom, don't you know Genesis 12, 2 and 3? I know Genesis 12, 2 and 3. Yes, I know it. I know it very well. That was written to Abram, and it's basically, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And through you, I will make all the family, and through you, I will bless all the families of the earth. Abraham is the Christian covenant, not the law covenant, folks. So who's the blessed now? Only those who are covered by the blood of the Lamb. Only those who have entered into a relationship with God through the blood of Jesus Christ. For the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness, but unto us who are saved, it is the power of God. So we are now the chosen, but you are a chosen generation, a holy priesthood, a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's own special people. 1 Peter 2:9 and 10. His own special people. He may proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, who once were not a people, but are now the people of God. Who's that? The Christians.
Yeah.
And all the Jews are welcome. All the Muslims are welcome if they're willing to repent of their sin and receive Jesus Christ as their Lord and as their Savior. Every knee will bow. Amen. Every tongue will confess. For he's given him a name that is above every name, that at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow, of those in heaven and of those on earth and of those under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Philippians 2:9 through 11. So that's it. And this is not our greatest ally. There's a foreign country who's attacked us. And by the way, I'm not saying anything more about them than I am England, Spain, France, Canada, or anybody else. And that's how they should be treated, but they're not. Why? We're merging our military with them by people who are being paid to do it from AIPAC, from their lobbying agency. It's not right, folks. It's not right. All right, 1016, that's good. I saw some rants. I know we got a couple.
We got three. Yep.
3 of them. Let's hit it.
Jules21ARs donated $50. Thank you for the FAAX TLP. Any decisions on Bookends Bible study?
Well, it's officially, Jules, it is officially the bookend Bible study because it does bookend. Now, so, sometimes you got bookends on both sides. Right now it's on one side, it's on the Friday. But thank you for the huge rant. No decision yet. I mean, again, I'm just, because I just started taking the Mondays off. So I'm trying to give it a chance. It's not going well. Okay. It's not. I'm miserable all day. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. This one I was a little less miserable than I was before, but I don't know. So we'll see. I've talked about it a little bit with the wife or whatever. But anyway, it was my idea. It wasn't hers. I just decided to do it. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm definitely leaning that way. So we'll see. But anyway, I'll let you know. Go to the next one.
Robin Aroni donated $10. I too would love Bible study with Pastor Tom Friday and Monday on Rumble at 9 p.m. Your thoughts?
Well, I can't do Rumble. If we do, we're going to stick with the TikTok, Instagram format. So we're going to do that, trying to reach, another audience. So you have to still do it. We'll still do it then. It'll be at the same time. If we do it, it'll be Monday. If we do it, it'll be Monday, 8 o'clock, Friday, 8 o'clock. That we'll do. So that'll be, what we do if we decide to do it. Leaning that way, and I'll let you guys know plenty in advance if we're going to do it. Thank you for the rant. Robin Aroni, go next for me.
Last one.
U.S. Abbey Girl donated $10. Holding politicians accountable at one time meant you were a conservative. So holding Republican politicians accountable is wrong. Just because they're Republican, that's hypocrisy, just like a Democrat.
Exactly. You're no longer conservative if you point out non-conservative actions by conservatives. Because you're violating the bigger agenda, which, okay, if you are actually attacking a conservative for not being a conservative, then how could their agenda be good? It's not. We're guaranteed no new wars, mass deportations, a wall, lowering the national debt. We're getting nothing a year and a half in. All right, let's go to the postgame. Postgame is good. Postgame's kind of serious tonight. Not a lot of real lighthearted stuff in it, but got to stick around for it anyway. But even though it'll aggravate you even more, but it does finish on a positive note. All right, love you guys. Back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. God bless you.
Rainwater is a public resource, and collecting it without permission is illegal.
In Oregon, a man was convicted and sentenced to jail for collecting and using rainwater on his own land. The state government charged him with theft. Rancher Gary Harrington built 3 large reservoirs on his property to collect rainwater and snowmelt. Harrington said the water was primarily used for fire prevention and to provide drinking water for wildlife. However, the state classified his actions as theft and brought criminal charges against him. Under a municipal regulation, all water resources within city limits, including precipitation, are considered part of the public water supply system. The city asked the court to order the removal of his water collection system and impose fines. Despite multiple appeals, Harrington argued, "The water falls on my land. I didn't sell it. I only used it on my own property." The court ultimately rejected his argument. In the end, Harrington was convicted on multiple charges, including the illegal use of state water resources. He was sentenced to 30 days in jail and fined more than $15,000. The case sparked strong public backlash, with many residents calling it an act of tyranny. If a person cannot even own the rain that falls on their own land, what do they truly own?
Well, when one human being says to me, call me they, them, I laugh. It's absurd. There's one of them.
And that shows that you're not empathic.
I asked a non-binary person who was a guest on my show recently, what does non-binary mean? She couldn't explain it.
Okay, so
it was actually torturous.
So that's her, but the thing is, why don't you get someone on your show who can explain it?
How many pronouns are there?
Multiple.
How many?
I don't know. I'm not an expert in that.
The last count is there are 74 official ones. Do you know?
Okay, you're going to say cat and dog. I'm a cat, I'm a dog.
No.
He, him,
I'll come to those.
she,
No.
they, them.
No.
Probably kind of
talk
like those.
Talk about gender pronouns.
Yes,
right?
so am I.
There are 74. One of them is astral gender, an affinity with space.
No, where are you getting this information?
Official genders. Google it. Literally, Google it.
Have you had someone on your show who said, I'm an astral whatever?
Yes, I actually got one on.
No. And did you pay that person to go on? I mean,
utter lunacy, the whole thing. It's like kids identifying as cats at school. You know what I would do with them?
That does not happen.
It does happen.
That is some bogus media presentation.
No,
that does not happen.
No, it has happened. Read my book, Woke is Dead. It's all in there.
I don't know if I'll read that.
There was a phenomenon called the furries. You know what it was? Kids would go to school and say,
I know what furries are, and furries are not a gender. That's its own kind of lifestyle. It's like people in outfits.
But this is where, with all due respect, this is where limitless self-identity takes you. It takes you to the absurd. For example, do you believe, let me ask you, do you believe that you can identify as anything you like?
No.
Oh, what are the exceptions?
I think that most people, that when they think about their gender identity, it's he, him, she, her, they, Z. Those are the ones that
What's
people
Z?
are. Z is, oh God, now I can't explain it. No, but Z.
You've no idea, have you? It's all complete baloney. What's Z? I've no idea. And you're the guy trying to defend this nonsense.
You know what happened? He got stabbed and he died because he wasn't looking for trouble. That's self-defense, motherfucker. So if you can't see that between your fucking little ass brain, motherfucker, do I have to tell you? I have to whisper it to you? So you want me to whisper it to you? No, you want me to whisper it to you, motherfucker? You can talk in. You want me to whisper it to you? Well, you're yelling right now. All right, then, bitch. Play with somebody else, nigga. I'm a real gangster. Play with somebody else. I'm just trying to get like some insight into the situation. There we have it, guys. From a real gangster.
That was funny.
Podcast is all about. We talk about a lot of political things, but underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.